Hi, I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is How. Daily, I bring you a different way to make your life easier by learning how to do things. One of the challenges you would have had is when you have to explain something quite complicated and technical or completely new to an audience who've not come across it before. I've noticed that a lot with people trying to explain different aspects of AI, what's an agent, what's a robot, and it's all very intricate, and you see people's eyes glaze over. This will have happened to you. Whenever you have to explain something brand new to people, especially technology, people can't accept it. They don't understand it. But I'm going to show you how to get that message across really quickly in a nutshell. There's an expression in English which is in a nutshell, and that's the pet we're going to learn to get today. It's called Nutshell. Let's jump onto Cube and I'll show you around. So welcome to Cube. This is the Fujitsu Soda Teru, where they work with their fintech clients, and they try to get their clients to understand what they're trying to do and maturity and stuff like that. But I've hijacked this particular cubicle because I wanted a space to set up today's how. Over here, they've got a plan, a layout for the place. So it's got private cubicles, and we can use one of the exhibition cubicles. We're going to use number 5 over here. So that's the one. So I'll zap us there at high speed. There's no one else here. So let's go and see what we can find. We're going to go through walls. Don't be scared. Okay, and we're through a couple of walls and we're there. Brilliant. Okay, so playing on this video is me teaching Nutshell. So if you ever come in here and you want to find out about Nutshell, here's a video of me teaching to a group of people. But let's have a look. The headache is always exactly the same. And it's this one, that sometimes you have to explain things to people who are in the new world. They don't understand what you're talking about. Or you have to explain the value of something to a CFO and they don't understand what you're talking about. So let's have a look at a real life example. So I grew up in the tropics. So what was fascinating to me is I'd read in history about Trotsky being killed by an ice pick because I didn't have a clue what an ice pick is. But once upon a time, what they used to do in the northern climes and the southern climes where it's really cold is when it was winter, they would go out into the fields and find a lake and they would saw up with great big saws big chunks of ice, and then they would pull them back with horses and they'd stick them in a warehouse, and that would provide cooling for the rest of the summer. And that was an industry, collecting ice, storing it, and then doing. So industry scale, that was a great idea, a thing to do. And then this is a fridge. This is a 1950s fridge. So a lady with a new fridge. Basically, we've gone from industrial scale all the way down to family, home scale. And this happens a lot. Often things which can only be done at great scale can be brought down to a smaller scale. But what's interesting is this is a single activity, single function. You know, it's just doing one thing, like your watch. A watch is a single function device. It just does one thing, it tells you the time. Whereas your mobile phone has evolved into a thing which can do lots of things, play you music, help you search the internet. It's a multifunction device. So one of the things we've done is we've managed to create a thing which is a multifunction device which allows you to manufacture at small home scale what you could only do industrially, and it's called 3D printing. So 3D printing, that's the whole purpose of it. Now, that means that opportunities will arise in areas where you want to do smaller scale stuff, you want to do it locally. But also remember, it's easier to move information than it is to move things. In other words, you can move things digitally much easier than you can move things such as assets or material. You know, so always move the digital stuff if you can. But at the moment, we're quite rich, so we're quite happy to move materials around. And always the headache with 3D printing will always be moving the materials around because the information can flow down straight down the line. So what you end up with the 3D printer is you end up with like a craftsman, but a magical genie craftsman in your pocket who can make anything. And that's what we mean when we say 3D printing. So that's my nutshell on 3D printing. So I'll show you how I created it. I used the Nutshell pet. Of course, I used the pet. So here are what are the characteristics. You capture them so you know what you're talking about. Brainstorm what it will be like. It's going to be a magical genie in your pocket. That's my end point. Okay, select it. How am I going to tell this story? Well, I've got the concept. I've told you it's called 3D printing. I've explained about things like that, be asset poor, electronic, moving electrons, not atoms. I've explained some of the things it overcomes. Therefore, it obsoletes the concept of having to do things at scale. It allows us to do things locally and cheaply and complex things and so on. Volume, you can just make one unit instead of having to print 20 of them and so on and so forth. And then I needed a contrasting image, so I used the ice industry, the fridge. And I've said, if you want to exploit it, this is what you do. And if you give me a second, I'll be back in a second. Just stay on cue for a second, and then I'll bring you something, which is fascinating. Oh, there we go. That's just to prove I'm not really locked down in place. I hope I might get out and back quickly without you spotting anything. Okay, so here we go. This is me. This is a pot. It's a 3D printer pot by my friend Jack. Okay, so this is a real thing. And he makes these. He makes one-offs. He made this in a pentacle shape because my business is called Pentacle. And I'm the only one who has it. And this is real. So really, it is a magical genie in your pocket. I've been Eddie Obeng. Subscribe to the newsletter and make sure that you can actually get a chance to learn some more of the pets with your colleagues. That was Knutshell.